Hello, my name is David Breakage, and I'm the Director of Conservation Programs for the Great Lakes Atlantic region. First of all, let me say thank you for being a Ducks Unlimited volunteer. Your help with Ducks Unlimited, raising funds for our conservation initiatives throughout the continent, is critical for us to achieve the habitat conservation mission of Ducks Unlimited and our goal of filling the skies with waterfowl today, tomorrow, and forever. Waterfowl, as we all know, are migratory in nature, and they travel up and down the flyways and rely on good habitat throughout their range. Ducks Unlimited is able to provide those habitats because of the support from folks like you, both in terms of raising funds and also helping us with policy initiatives throughout North America. On this video, you're learning about the conservation initiative in your area. And I just want to make it clear that our ability to continue delivering habitat in your area is completely dependent on our success raising funds for these conservation initiatives. You have a vital role to play in that, and I want to thank you for your efforts. Thank you for caring, thank you for volunteering for Ducks Unlimited, and thank you for your support.
My name is Bernie Marzik. I'm the Manager of Conservation Programs for Ducks Unlimited out of our North Atlantic office, which is based in Chester, Maryland. Our office is responsible for delivering Complete a Cycle initiative, which will deliver conservation projects for DU from Maryland north to Maine, where I'm standing today. I'll talk in a minute about some of our larger projects we have going on in the Delaware Bay and the Chesapeake Bay, as well as New York and Pennsylvania. But first I wanted to touch on a couple of our projects we have going on in New England. Just up the coast from me, we're partnering with the Fish and Wildlife Service to protect vital duck habitat and expand the wildlife refuge system along the coast of Maine. Standing on the shore of the Chesapeake Bay in Kent Island, Maryland, just down the road from our North Atlantic office. Under Completing a Cycle, DU will continue our efforts in the Chesapeake Bay watershed to restore critical waterfowl habitat for the birds that are migrating through the Atlantic flyway. Just across the bay from me right now is the capital city of Annapolis, where DU also has a strong presence, where we support public policy efforts to benefit our organization as well as the conservation we're trying to deliver on the ground. One example of this is the Chesapeake Bay Trust Fund, where Ducks Unlimited will receive over $600,000 to restore critical habitat in the Choptank watershed. In addition to our work in state capitals, Ducks Unlimited has a strong presence in Washington, D.C. as well to support policies such as the North American Wetlands Conservation Act that provides grants to provide on-the-ground funding for wetland restoration. Two such examples of this are one up in New York on the watershed of Lake Ontario. We've restored over 1,100 acres of waterfowl habitat at the Montezuma National Wildlife Refuge. We're also in the process of finishing up a project up in Pymatoonie Wildlife Management Area in the Lake Erie watershed in northwest Pennsylvania. Both of these projects have received funding from NACA, or the North American Wetlands Conservation Act. In my next clip, I'll talk to you a little bit about more of NACA and the work we're doing in Delaware and New Jersey. Building off our successful projects in Pennsylvania and New York, Ducks Unlimited has also been successful to receive two $1 million NACA grants, one for New Jersey and one for Delaware. In New Jersey, we'll be restoring over 900 acres of prime waterfowl habitat to Tuckahoe Wildlife Management Area in partnership with the Nature Conservancy and the State Division of Fish and Wildlife. In Delaware, we'll be restoring over 1,100 acres of waterfowl habitat and protecting land as well through conservation easements on agricultural land and restoring some of that agricultural land back to wetlands. These $2 million NACA grants will go a long way to provide solid habitat for wintering waterfowl in the Mid-Atlantic region. On behalf of our North Atlantic office and the staff who implements the programs from Maryland to Maine, we thank you for your support of Ducks Unlimited.
I'm Russ Terry. I'm Ducks Unlimited's Manager of Conservation Programs for the state of Ohio, where we're focused on putting habitat on the ground through our Big Rivers and our Great Lakes initiatives. And I work out of our regional office in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ducks Unlimited has got a very strong conservation program in the state of Ohio, particularly in the Lake Erie watershed where I am today. In fact, DU is currently engaged in a couple dozen habitat conservation projects that, when they're all said and done, will have protected, restored, or enhanced more than 5,500 acres of waterfowl habitat here in the state of Ohio. I want to give you a flavor of the work that Ducks Unlimited is doing through our conservation programs, so you can see the dramatic impact that the organization is having on waterfowl and on waterfowl hunting here in Ohio. This is Howard Farms Metro Park. It's a 987-acre property, a quarter-mile from Lake Erie. As you can see behind me, it's currently all in row crop agriculture, corn and soybeans. Ducks Unlimited is working with Metro Parks of the Toledo area, the Ohio Division of Wildlife, NOAA, and other partners to restore this property back to its former coastal wetlands. Once this property is restored, Metro Parks of the Toledo area and the Ohio Division of Wildlife are going to co-manage our public waterfowl hunting program here. And Ducks Unlimited is front and center in the restoration of this property. We've been hired by Toledo Metro Parks to provide all the engineering services, and we've secured more than $2.25 million from NOAA to do the restoration work on the property. This is a 62-acre property along the north side of the Portage River that Ducks Unlimited purchased back in December. DU bought this property to keep it from being developed, and we used funding from a Great Lakes Fish and Wildlife Restoration Act to do that. We're in the process of donating this property to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It'll become part of Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, and once the property is transferred, DU is going to work with the refuge to secure some public money to try to restore the property back to a complex of wetlands and native warm season grasses that will provide good production and migration habitat for waterfowl and lots of other critters, and hopefully we can develop some sort of public waterfowl hunting program out here as well. Ducks Unlimited is also active in our Big Rivers Initiative area in Ohio. In fact, DU just received a $75,000 grant from the North American Wetlands Conservation Council. We're going to use that grant to partner with Appalachia Ohio Alliance and the Nature Conservancy to protect a 48-acre property along the lower Big Darby Creek in Pickaway County. Acquisition of that property for Appalachia Ohio Alliance is going to permanently protect over a mile of frontage along the creek on both sides, along with an island and several acres of wetlands and riparian habitat that are important to breeding wood ducks and spring and fall migrating ducks and geese.
Hi, my name is John Calusi, Director of Conservation Planning for Ducks Unlimited's Great Lakes Atlantic Regional Office. You know, this time of year, waterfowl enthusiasts are eagerly awaiting the results of the waterfowl breeding population survey that takes place in May. This survey has been around since 1955 and is the most comprehensive survey of breeding waterfowl in the world. And this survey gives us some idea of what we might expect to see in the marsh this coming fall. You know, by all accounts, this last winter was a very good one for waterfowl across breeding areas. We had really good snowpack as well as a good ground freeze, which provided great runoff to fill wetlands for breeding waterfowl. And in fact, the waterfowl biologists conducting the breeding population surveys have reported very good to good breeding conditions and good numbers of waterfowl across many of the primary breeding areas in the prairie pothole region. However, we do have to temper our expectations just a little bit. This past winter was a very difficult one and a long one. Old Man Winter didn't want to let his grip go of many of these breeding areas, and so we had a delayed spring, which equated to delayed arrival for many species of waterfowl on important breeding areas. This can equate to limited renesting opportunities and subsequently have an impact on reproduction and recruitment to the fall flight. So we have to take that into consideration. In addition, we have to also consider that weather and habitat conditions that we see on fall migration staging areas as well as wintering areas will also have an impact on the numbers of waterfowl we see this coming fall. For example, drought and excessive rain and precipitation during key periods during the growing season can also have an impact on food availability locally as well as regionally, which can dictate how many birds we might see this coming fall. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the precipitation between patterns between now and fall to get a good handle on habitat conditions as birds start to move south towards wintering areas. And as usual, weather patterns will play a huge role in determining what we might see in the marsh this coming fall and winter. So despite early indications of another very, very good year for breeding waterfowl, we'll need to just keep our eyes and ears tuned to what Mother Nature may have in store for us coming up. And we'll look forward to a bountiful fall in the marsh.
Hi, I'm Doug Gorby, Director of Conservation Programs for Ducks Unlimited Great Lakes Atlantic Region. I'm here to thank you all for the hard work you're doing out there on the local level, raising dollars for the ducks. As you could see from the clips earlier, DU and our biologists and engineers across the region are working hard to deliver quality projects on the landscape, projects that have important benefits to waterfowl and other species of wildlife, and hopefully provide you a place to go out and spend some time this fall. Also, as John showed you, continental numbers of ducks and other waterfowl are in pretty good shape across North America, thanks in part to the work that DU is doing not just here in the U.S., but also on the Canadian prairies and down in Mexico on the wintering grounds. So thanks to all of you for the hard work that you're doing. Keep up the good work. The local fundraising initiatives are an important part of how we deliver conservation, not just locally, but across all of North America. And going out and raising major donor pledges and gifts through those initiatives are critical to continuing to do good work here. Also, the money that you raise at your local grassroots events is critical to our conservation mission. Thanks to all of you for working hard on those events and raising those dollars that keep the machine churning. Thanks again for all you're doing out there. It's important to our conservation work, and I look forward to seeing you all out in the field somewhere this fall.